pieces of business to take care of. We'll watch some good old-fashioned content.
Tyra. He tried to bring up Tyra, but he doesn't want to have that debate. Trust me, he didn't want to have that debate. That's why he kicked me. He tried to bring up Tyra. Tyra no does not exist. Ask an archaeologist. Okay, ask an archaeologist. Does not exist. Stop asking atheists on the internet, William, and do your research. Ask people who have actually dug in that area, and they'll tell you that Tyra prophesied about is buried under the Mediterranean Sea, and part of it is off the coastline, about a mile down the shore of where you see New Tyre, they call it. Archaeologists call it New Tyre because it was built on top of the old Tyre, where you see
Say what's up, Tobin, Christian Carpenter, Silver Wolf. Good to see you.
the New Tyre. Okay, so Tyre does not exist. They built the city on
See, Silver Wolf is still alive.
top of the rubble, and they call that Tyre. They built a new modern city, KFC, uh, Church's Chicken in the black neighborhood. Same difference, same like McDonald's, right? And then in some neighborhoods you have abortion clinics. No, they don't. No, they don't have that over there. All right, so he tried. He did try his best. But I want to define inerrant first, because to go into a discussion with a Christian about inerrancy and not know what it means to be inerrant, to come up with things like spelling and grammar that you have in some manuscript traditions, but not all of them. So all I got to do is get the one that has no spelling errors in it. That would be none, probably. But scholars, the science of textual criticism has determined where these errors lie, and by comparing copy to copy, we've pretty much gotten back to the mother copy or the autograph. But inerrancy is the doctrine that the Bible is fully truthful in all of its teachings. The Bible is fully truthful in all of its teachings. Teachings about marriage. Now, he didn't deny that. Thank God. Okay? Relationships, as far as men and women are concerned. How are we to treat our wives? How are we our wives to treat our husbands? Okay?
Shit, probably.
How are we to treat our children? How are we to raise our children? Fully truthful in all of its teachings. And how do we know this? Well, we can take the teachings of scriptures when it comes to social life and look at the social statistics. And those who practice these teachings of the Bible tend to do better statistically.
Who are these guys? Erickson? Are you?
Tend to do better. Okay? So the social sciences back up what we say. Those who disobey God's social teachings, homosexuality is a perfect example. Well, the social sciences have demonstrated that their lives are basically hell. They basically have a lower life span. They don't live as long as people who are in a heterosexual marriage, because of the behavior is an unnatural behavior, and that breaks down the body. It breaks down the immune system.
This guy
The
whose definitions he's using, Wayne Grudem, has books like Systematic Theology, Recovering Biblical Manhood and Womanhood, Christian Ethics, Christian Beliefs, Politics According to the Bible. Right. Hard echo? Oh no, sorry. My bad. been having that problem with these headphones. You know, if we're still getting the echo, I may have to switch to my earbud here.
The inerrancy of scripture means that the scripture in the original manuscripts does not affirm anything that is contrary to the facts. Don't find me one offshoot, or don't get me the Queen James Bible and say, see, look, this has an error in it. Okay, we're talking about the original manuscripts. And again, through the science of textual criticism, we can get back to the mother copy. Simple definition: the Bible always tells the truth, and that it always tells the truth concerning everything it talks about. That's important that Grudem is saying here, because what the skeptic will do is that they'll bring up things that the Bible doesn't talk about. William tried that. Well, let's bring this up. The Bible doesn't talk about this. Is it truthful in what it intends or what it wants to communicate? Don't bring up something the Bible doesn't care to communicate and then suggest that it is not infallible because it doesn't address this, or it doesn't address this in the way you think it should address it. That's not what we mean by inerrant.
Switch off.
That's not what we mean by inerrant. Okay, here's your definition of inerrant. Also, look, watch out for the straw man. You're going to see a few prop up here in this conversation about the review. Beware of the straw man fallacy. The straw man is an argument, an informal fallacy, where the subject of the argument is not being addressed. When I say that the Bible is 100% accurate 100% of the time, I'm not saying that it just tells you about events that actually happened.
Okay,
So,
sorry.
William,
I was under the impression there was going to be, is there an actual debate between William and Jill that's going to take place here at some point? He's in the room with somebody here. That goal. It's not William. See William. So he's responding to shit that William said in another open room. Doesn't look like William Freeman's going to join this stream. As we'll see.
Superman, no Superman worshiper. And then he brings up Greece. He brings up ancient Greece. Well, Greece did names several places. Is that my argument? No. My argument is not that the Bible simply lists places and people. Any book can do that. But can you be 100% accurate in doing so? Can you be truthful in every event and not have a bunch of made up stories that never corresponded to reality? Made up people, made up places. You got an entire city on top of Mount Olympus. Doesn't exist. No evidence that there was a city up there. They made it up. So no Zeus follower can say that the books that I am holding here are 100% accurate historically. They're not. There are made up people, places, and particulars, mythology. That's what we mean when we say that the Bible is infallible. That is not, it is not made up of mythology, period. Not one iota. No other religion can boast of such. That's what we're referring to. Okay, so stop propping up the straw man, William,
That's what you believe?
because I'll knock it down. And you're going to see in his argument that that the top part of this pyramid here is never touched. My central point was never addressed, and it.
Welcome, Dr. Mordecai. Refuting the central point. Explicit he refutes the central point. Refutation. Finds the mistake and explains why it's mistaken using quotes. Explains why it's mistaken using quotes. Counter argument. Contradicts and then backs it up with reasoning and or supporting evidence. Okay. Contradiction. States the opposing case with little or no supporting evidence. It's not a contradiction. That's a lack of supporting evidence. Contradiction is when one thing is directly opposed to the other. Okay. Responding to tone. Criticizes the tone of the writing without addressing the substance of the argument. Ad hominem. Attacks the characteristics or authority of the writer without addressing the substance of the argument. Name calling. Sounds something like, "You are an asshat." Brilliant. That's amazing.
And it never will be addressed. It'll keep being avoided. They'll keep strawmanning. They'll keep just saying the opposite, contradicting what I'm saying, just to contradict what I'm saying, stating the opposite case with little or no supporting evidence. They won't come anywhere near the tip of the pyramid. I stand on the tip of the pyramid.
It's not church. I thought there was like a debate between Jill and William Freeman here, because he's got Will's like raccoon avatar up on the thumbnail, and it says he's responding to a Christian that claims the Bible is not infallible. It's like earlier in the video he was talking about Will, and I don't know if you talked to him in an open room or just was listening to him or whatever. But he's supposed to be responding to something that Will said. But I was under the impression they actually discussed the matter here, but it looks like he just goes on this rant, and then at some point, like Beckel and some other people come in, and then they start reviewing streams. So I don't think Will ever actually appears in this stream, as far as I can tell.
Jill stands on the tip of the pyramid, not by might nor by power, but by his Holy Spirit. Come knock me off. And I'm not talking about the Egyptian pyramid. All right. And then you have the really low name calling, the low graded atheists who really don't have anything, like the Red Fangs. They just do the ad homs, the name calling. They respond to my tone. Oh, Joe is he's a nice person. He doesn't say it the right way. He doesn't say it how Jesus said it. Yeah, shut up, shut up, you silly nigga. Do you even know who Jesus was? That's not the way Jesus would say it. That's not the way Jesus would speak to people. Really? You don't know Jesus. You don't know him. That's the problem. Because Jesus had a very, very nasty tone when it came to false teachers, false religious teachers. All right, he was nice to the pagans because they were ignorant. But those who purposely twist the word of God, like Richard Manson, he was no friend of. He was no friend of. Okay? He was not nice. All right, so stop it with that's not the right tone. It's not the right tone of a Christian. Shut up, liberal.
You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
When you lie.
Okay. We'll probably come back to this. What's up, Jill? Jamie Russell's live. Let's see what he's got to say right now. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. How should we understand Jesus' saying? Oh no, must have just gone off. Was live. Well, damn it. Hey, that's us. Escape. Let's check out a Silver stream down here. Silver's still live. No? Am I right? Do, 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 do. Oh no. Crash the system. Good time, it'll catch up. Hello.
And it doesn't even give me a coordinate either of when the last time I died. So let's can. Oh, great! Now Abe is gonna be streaming my stream. That's lovely. As it loads on his stream, that's funny.
I have to mute one of them, right? That's what I would have to do. Wait.
Okay, hi Abe, if you're hearing me, I've got your stream open.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Oh.
Winning.
I see.
What's up, Dave? Good to see you.
And is very much delayed. Oh, this is awkward. Me struggling.
It's a circular stream here.
Yeah, I don't know how to, how can I go back to that spot when... Isn't it when you place the cam thing?
Okay.
I'm hearing myself.
Yeah, sorry. I do.
Okay.
I have a thing. Just coming to say hi. That was a little awkward, wasn't it? Okay, first of all, wait. Oh, it's going to be down here. I'm going to back this one up anyway. We're going to do another one first. Because I don't think we're going to get through the whole Pocket Locker stream. We'll see. This is 128. I've got about an hour and a half left. I'm going to have to move to another conference room at 5. Okay, get on with it. It's pretty good once it loads. It's taking forever to load. Okay, so we're going to do this one first. This guy. I saw this and I was triggered. I was offended, to be honest with you.
Showing up on the first page of Google might not be the best for everyone. But for business owners, it is.
You know, I heard something funny recently that now that I'm done with school, I don't have to study anymore. That I can just go home and chill. And the reason it was funny to me to hear something like that was because for the last 6 months, while I was in school, I was training myself to constantly learn new things. essentially be a student of life. And I wanted to do this so that I could end up in a position where I'm satisfied and actually useful to my society, my community. Something I think that my soul needs. And I heard Jim
Think
Rohn
that your soul needs you to be useful to your community?
talk about this concept of work and life and the balance that comes with trying to live it successfully, right? Trying to live a life that you actually want to live. And he said, work more on yourself than you do your work. And I realized that to many people that just sounds like studying, which is hilarious to me because school has never been there to teach you about how to live your life, in my opinion. It's been there to constrain you into believing that there is a way to live life. But really, the intricacies of it, the ins and outs, the emotional requirements of it, school doesn't teach you that. And I've always honestly really disliked school for that reason, because why set people up to not be adaptable? At the end of the day, life is hard and environments are constantly changing. The world is constantly changing. So why wouldn't you want your citizens to be the most curious, the most solution oriented, so that they could deal with things like that? And the conclusions that I often came to is it was the blind leading the blind. It's a lot of, like what I'm doing here. It's a lot of people trying to figure it out themselves, and along the way, giving some sort of wisdom. Albeit the wisdom that I offer, the life advice, the emotional intelligence stuff, that's subjective, almost entirely. And history is also subjective. Math is not subjective. All that, not subjective at all, really. So that's something you have to learn hard and fast and understand, sure. But the majority of school, really, subjects that are teaching facts, you know, I went through and got a dentistry degree. Subjects that are teaching facts are actually teaching facts that are about 10 years old and oftentimes out of context and outdated. So it ends up being fruitless in the long run. Whereas teaching someone about finances, health, emotional intelligence, meditation, spirituality, ecology, how we literally get our air, you know, these things can last a lifetime, and I think would fundamentally change the planet. But I say all this because I want to convince you that just because school is over doesn't mean that you should stop learning in some capacity.
I already agree with you.
The things that you decide to learn, the things that we decide to learn, hopefully are going to be diverse as hell.
I'm gonna talk slow.
But the best chess players always make a chess move that will give them more moves, apparently, ahead of them. So to make decisions that aren't investments, I think, is a fallacy. To try to live life in the moment all the time is going to lead to a very difficult life, at least in this society. Unless you're incredibly lucky, like Forrest Gump or something, you kind of have to plan ahead to a degree. And that means
Fair enough.
studying. It means preparation. I made a TikTok post, I think, the other day, and I remember writing in it, the price of adaptability is preparation. Which is the greatest irony of it all, because we assume that adaptability is something that's innate. But in my understanding of adaptation,
Yeah, it's like this esoteric like music. Is that those esoteric music playing in the background?
so that
Ambient.
so that when things come up that don't make sense, the muscle at least has the memory to try to understand it, if that makes sense. Curiosity honed, essentially, asking the right questions, doing it efficiently, so that you may act efficiently, quicker. But a student of life, to be a student of life, I think correlates directly with a love of life. And I've been reading this book, Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, where some of the main characters, they work incredibly hard and are put up against incredible obstacles. And they find each other. You know, they might be the
Hey, what's up, William? Kelvy, good to see you.
leads of certain companies, and they might be running around doing their own thing, obviously being very busy and productive. But they find each other, and they find company, and they find serenity out of hanging out with people that have this incredible ability to utilize their time. And I believe, and also vaguely inference in the book itself, it comes from a love of life. To wake up in the morning and be excited, almost jittery about what we can do in a day, to get out of work and to be excited instead of tired, to be present in the moment as much as possible. A love of life, I think, will inevitably lead to a lifelong student, because there's so much to learn. It's an incredible amount. And the more we
But what's up with the title of the video? You say it's just too late to get your life together in your 30s. See, that's
learn,
saying.
the more interesting the world becomes, because we realize there's so many niches and so many people that are just so passionate about these niches. If you've ever had an opportunity to talk to someone about what they're passionate about, and you are also passionate about something, there will be euphoria in it for you for at least an hour, or for however long you're interacting with that person. There is a magnetism that goes with passion.
What's going on here? It's Brandon it.
And I think it has to do with a love for life. There was also a quote that comes to mind, that lovers love things, love events, activities, lovers of worldly possessions, of singular, minute things. What does it mean to be the beloved?
I think, Kelvy, I saw there's another video on this guy's channel that I watched where he actually responds to that. What's up, Mikey Sue Sword? Good to see you. Yeah, he responds to the. See if I pull it up here. It's going to take me away from the video. That's 744. Oh, that's right. In the corner there. Pretty sure that's the other video I watched from him was talking about that. Life is meaningless. Yeah, why do dentists have the highest suicide rate here? Yeah. This guy is an interesting character. I don't know, it's getting turn on a new weird shit over here. Okay.
The beloved to me are like the prophets. They're the people in society that we look at and we say to ourselves, wow, I can't wait to see that person again. Or wow, what sunlight am I feeling right now with this person around? You know, like genuinely we feel it. Every single one of us as a human being. We know who the beloved are. We can think about it almost immediately off the top of our heads, like, yeah, that
See,
person's
what I want to
amazing.
know is why did he title the video the way he did? It just doesn't make sense to me. I thought he was going to say something really offensive.
How does one become that way? I think a love of life.
He's just too nice to be
I think
criticized.
to be incredibly productive and to always be progressing in our knowledge, our intellect, our ability to study, our ability
Obsessed
to
with
adapt.
production and utilitarianism, apparently.
All of these things fall in the same category. And even making this video, I'm now thinking about potentially a deeper reason for why I went down this path to begin with. Because I have a love of life. And I hope you do too.
Yeah.
I hope it manifests in something that you can feel. Being a student of life is a gift, really. I have to have incredible gratitude for the ability to even talk about this concept, let alone to ideally live it on my best days. But don't ever stop it. In some form or another, put yourself through what school put you through. Like rote study of something that really fascinates you, hopefully. And even if it doesn't fascinate you, just for the sake of knowledge, for the sake of a difference in mindset, I think it's well worth it. So if you got anything out of this video, smash that thumbs up for me. It helps a lot. Throw me a comment on something that you've been trying to learn of late. I'd be curious. And if you have some time, check out this video right here when I have the time to post it.
I was watching this. It's pretty funny.
A local sheriff is catching heat on social media for using food as punishment. That right there is the Warden Burger. Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones serves it to inmates in isolation. Our Courtney King sat down with the sheriff today about why he uses it. But Courtney, my question is, would he eat the burger?
Rob, that was my first question for him. So not only did he say he would, he did, and we have it all on camera. We're going to show you that in just a few minutes, or in a moment, actually. The sheriff tells us that he's not the only one that does this, and that detention centers all over the country do this. And it is important to note that the burger is
very vague.
Is not made to be bad. We do have the recipe for it, and we'll put it on our website for you. It's basically a turkey burger. The sheriff says that what's punishment about it is that the inmate in isolation gets that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day until they leave isolation. And like
turkey burgers for every meal? That's terrible. Oh yeah, Mike, that's a good comment. I think he understates the problem with being in your 20 to 30 age range. By this time in life, you should already know thyself and become an asset to your community, family, and yourself. Right? Otherwise, you're in like arrested development. Turkey ain't no burger. It's terrible. For every meal.
And like you said, he has caught a lot of flack on social media about this. One person even calling him a disgusting human.
The State Department of Corrections is not my boss, so I basically don't give two what they think.
On Wednesday, we sat down with Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones and watched him eat this. It's no ordinary burger.
That was great.
Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones and watched him eat this. It's no ordinary burger. It's what the sheriff.
My boss. So I basically don't give two what they think.
On Wednesday, we sat down with Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones and watched him eat this. It's no ordinary burger. It's what the sheriff calls a warden burger.
Basically, don't give two shits what they think. Just straight up. Oh, that's honesty for you.
So you have zero complaints about the warden burger?
Me personally, no, I would eat this. Hell, I'm eating it now.
The sheriff tells us he's been serving it to inmates in isolation for all 3 meals for the last several years.
This is jail. You don't get to choose. Your mommy and your dad and your Aunt Lily doesn't get to make your meals. I'm your aunt. I'm your grandpa. I'm the one that gets your meal prepared and make sure it gets done.
The sheriff says inmates get put in
This guy's fucking off the hook. I love it.
isolation for things like fighting, and the burger is an added punishment.
If you get in trouble and you go to an isolation cell, it's no different than your regular cell. And that's what you get 3 times a day, and you get all the water you can drink. It's very nutritious. It's good for you. It has lots of fiber in it. Fiber is good for you, right?
Sheriff Jones says a dietitian approved the burger, and it's not made to taste bad.
It's got many ingredients. It's made with ground turkey, potatoes, carrots. It's got celery. It's got flour.
He says the punishment is in not having variety. Jones says inmates can be in isolation for up to 10 days at a time, which means they could eat up to 30 warden burgers.
Would you ever eat it for 3 meals a day?
Yeah. I'm easy to please on what I eat. I come from a generation that you eat whatever's in front of you.
He says he hopes the burger will make inmates
Back in my day.
think twice about acting out while in the Butler County Jail.
Has it worked? Have you ever had someone in isolation be like, I'm never getting in trouble because I don't want that darn burger ever again?
Yeah, we've had people that leave. They always tell me they never want to eat that burger again. And this may be just a little piece that keeps you out of trouble, keeps you from hurting other people. And that's my goal here.
So the sheriff tells us that he's never been fined or ordered to stop using the burger despite some state officials saying that he's violating some policies. And guys, I was not able to try the burger because I'm gluten intolerant, but we have a burger for you guys that the sheriff gave us. You know, because we're doing our job, we need to test the product, let our viewers know what's going on. So Rob, I think you're Steve, if you guys could taste test
we're
that
both,
and let us know what it tastes like.
We cut it in half, but just like you said, it does smell like a pizza.
I need more burgers out here.
Too bad you have to go to jail to eat this. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we thank the sheriff for sending one back. It's not bad. Like I don't think this is punishment. Would I want to eat it every day? Probably not. 3 meals a day?
I'm a former vegetarian, so I'm used to stuff like this. But actually, it's not bad.
Yeah,
it really
totally.
So,
that was a very, very interesting story, Courtney. And I'm glad you got the sheriff's perspective. Because a lot of times when you see things on social media, it just kind of touches the surface, right?
And sorry, Mom, for talking with my mouth full.
I know, tell me about it. Okay, so weather-wise, the humid weather is returning.
Yes, it is. And it looks like we'll make it through the weekend without a lot of humidity. Excuse me.
But
Monday it begins.
Okay, so and what I noticed.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna reset this thing, get it set up. So we know we're not gonna make it through the whole stream. Get started. There's a lot to unpack, so be slow going. Okay. Play with me.
May I have your attention for a very important public service announcement? We are taking.
So we'll have to move. It's change rooms in about 15 minutes or so. So I don't know if I'm going to leave the stream running or I'll have to start a new one. I'm going to try to leave it running, but I don't know how it's going to work. So.
Returned for another edition of the Pocket Locker Podcast. I am your host with the most, all the way from the East Coast. And as always, good people, I am in.
Oop. Is it muted?
Airplane mode.
It's him, not me. Yeah, Mikey, I will post a link after I switch rooms here in about 10 to 15 minutes.
And as always, it is a special occasion. So we are linking up with the gang. We are broadcasting live from our gather space in our SNL studio. We could just call this a little Sunday night live. But look, gang, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Cheers to everybody out there in YouTube's lands. Knock it on back. It's time to get into that real shit, y'all. We have been pounding at this for months now, talking about the limits of these people who call themselves our allies and comrades, who claim to be on side until shit gets real. So it's about time we do it. It's about time we let people know why I left the left. But look, Second Thought came out with this video. It's really, really good. It talks about the problem with liberals. It's shit we've been getting at. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's get this set up. There we go.
This episode and others like it are brought to you by the generous support of my patrons on Patreon. If you'd like to help support this channel, join our growing Discord server, and get early access to every video, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/secondthought.
So, at least in part, this is Pocket Locker reviewing Second Thought video.
I have been gravely disappointed with the white moderates. I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the white citizens' counselor or the Ku Klux Klaner, but the white moderate.
I may be ignorant, but I believe Dr. Bundy wears a wig on stream. I believe it's a wig, but I could be wrong.
Voted
Not
to
certain.
order than to justice, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to it, who constantly says, I agree with you in the goal you seek, but I cannot agree with your methods of direct action, who paternalistically believes he can set the time table for another man's freedom.
That white person that you
Oh yeah, Silver. Sorry for playing you in your ear. That was probably really awkward. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I had fun doing it.
Again, how many times have you heard Steph quote that to us?
Just talking. first internet spiral of the evening. Okay, it looks like we're stabilizing. I don't know how this works. I don't know if they like come to get me or I'm supposed to like. Yeah, I'm not sure. Got a few more minutes before they said I'm supposed to be switching rooms, but we'll see.
Steph quote that to us over the last several months. I mean, countless times. Countless times. Always right back to it. Always right back to it. And people think we playing. I'm telling y'all, gang. It's this weird mix of emotions I feel when things like this happen. Larger platform taking on the message, kind of saying similar things. At the same
All right. Let's see here. Just one of those. I'm just not.
same time, like, oh my God, we've been saying this. We've been saying this. Why don't people listen?
Whoa. Intense. Let's give it a second, see if it catches up. Yeah, I saw you were on there. And I had scheduled this. I just got to take whatever time they give me in the room. So decided to take it while you can. I've got to dump a couple files from the computer here too before we go. So it'll probably be, well, anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. His St. Patrick's Day hair color? No, that's his everyday hair color. That's his usual look on stream. We only got a little bit of hope for the best here.
We've been trying to tell you. We're trying to tell you. Okay? It's also like.
Yeah. So Dr. Bundy is known for getting very emotional.
Liberal is the most dangerous hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox. And a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to. But the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even when you see his teeth, you think he's smiling. You take him for a friend.
Everything was going so well. See, I might have something to distract us here for a moment. I'm kind of waiting it out to see what happens with this whole room change thing, though. Oh, it's not going to show up with this layout, huh? Sorry, I'm waiting to see if this, nope. That's why I was waiting. just fucking around with things, killing time here, because, yeah, a little bit, let's see if that works. Just keep stopping it every 5 seconds. I mean,
Hey, Subami.
Okay, let's go. Over the past 5 months, just about everyone I know has come to the same conclusion. Dyed-in-the-wool liberals are as much the enemy of normal, decent people who would like Harry Potter and Marvel movies and doesn't really think about politics outside of election years.
Will you shut up, man?
I mean the people who love Harry Potter and Marvel movies and also go out of their way to scold Palestinians for resisting their own extermination. People who demand you condemn Hamas while refusing to acknowledge that history didn't begin on October 7th. People who split their time evenly between rewatching Hamilton and calling anyone... I think you know the type. But just so we're on the same page before we go any further, let me be extra clear. Liberalism is the default ideology in the imperial core. The average person ends up with a liberal perspective by osmosis. There is a pipeline from simply existing in the empire to becoming a private servant of the empire. And if you feel like this is an attack on you personally, please don't feel that way. Everyone should be capable of changing their perspective when presented with new evidence. If you're not, that's a good sign you may have been indoctrinated.
Well, yeah, if it's good evidence. You're not just going to change your perspective because you've been presented like new evidence. Like if it's not good and convincing evidence. Oops. Oh, that one. This is going very slowly, so I'm afraid it's going to stop on me again. Why is it just doing that on this video? It just doesn't want me to watch this video. That's the way it always goes.
Been indoctrinated into a dangerous ideology. But
yeah, and this is kind of like the way I feel. Obviously, I feel like some of this applies to that we're in. Like it's just chock full of people like this. And anytime there's even just the mildest critique, not even of them personally, we can go out of our way to make it not personal, but just to critique the approach or draw attention to the impact of their behavior or marginalized groups. This sort of pathetic sort of acting like a scolded child, like it's met with this.
No, Dave says Jay is no slouch. He has 2 degrees in evolutionary biology. Yeah, I know he's well versed on that. I just know I've seen him get fairly emotional on a couple of panels over other topics. He's very passionate. Appreciate his commentary. I know he's gotten into it with some other people I know. I've never gotten into the weeds with Jay, so yeah, I'm neutral. I'm an observer. I do find some of his takes fascinating. I don't always agree with him. Some of his political commentary and stuff. So we'll see. That's why I'm getting to know all the. But I did watch a significant part of this, and there were some points, probably a little bit later on, where he critiques. He's responding to this video, but there's a lot of his own. Well, you'll see.
This sort of hostility of like, how dare you criticize me when, I'm one of the good guys. And it's
Not just getting that on the left, like it pisses you off because I can understand, but that's like, it's like a standard human reaction. Like you kind of get defensive. You think you have like a good idea, and then somebody comes along and criticizes, right? Like that's natural. Like it's got to be like constructed in the way you criticize people, especially if they think they're doing like a good deed or service or whatever.
it's it's pathetic, but I see so much of it out here. It's incredibly frustrating, but it's just time to have this bigger conversation, and this is an opportunity to get more explicit about the fact that I'm frustrated with these people.
That's what this video is about. I'm going to give you just a little bit of evidence that Western liberals are a tremendous force for evil, and contrary to what they want you to believe, they absolutely do not care about truth, justice, peace, or progress. Let's start with the civil rights era.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Sumami. I think that's what this video is highlighting, and it's kind of like where I'm at with things. It's that
Talking about like changing your bad ideas when you're presented with evidence for something better, right? Like progress, right? Like that is the leftist agenda. Progressive is like usually it's like there's liberals and then there's progressives, but that's all like left, right? Like left leaning. Well, it's after 5 now. Haven't moved me along, so anybody wants to try and join? Should be a link popping up. It's moving a little slow. There we go. Yeah, but I guess there's this differentiation between like the liberal left and then like progressivist,
it's that the left ends up and yeah, and again, I think we're talking about what maybe like maybe like the mainstream left, like the people that are, it's sort of like the mainstream left that's not as left as left should be, if you will.
Not as left as left should be. I mean, you think more people should have like. See, this is my problem because, like, I agree that like most like liberals aren't liberal enough, right? But like, how far do you go? And it's like, you're saying that people ought to hold extremist political ideologies, right? Because that's what you eventually lean into. If you go far enough in either direction, by definition, you're holding an extremist ideology.
They end up being agents of moderation, agents of the status quo, and really lending mass credence to the things that inhibit progress rather than bring about progress.
A lot of Americans today erroneously believe that when Dr. King, sure, things were bad back then, but his words were so moving that everyone put down their pitchforks and agreed that we were all equal. And of course, the white liberals were marching hand in hand with Black America. Profound.
Okay, so there's somebody just looking in here. I'm not sure if they're going to come and move me, or if they were just walking by. We'll see. Oh, yeah, they come. Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Not quite the seamless transition I was hoping for.
Well, and it's funny because our dear friend Silver there said, "Rest in peace to stream." I thought,
Yeah.
something happened to my buddy there, Jay. What happened? We're
Yeah, no, I
live.
just had to
We're
move from
live.
the conference room over into the study room here right across the hall. So,
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. How you doing,
yeah,
my
I'm glad
friend?
this. I'm doing all right today, it's getting better. Still have my moments, but yeah,
Well,
just
we
trying
all
to stay
do.
positive. Yeah.
Yeah, we have our first real snowstorm today. We had a snow blizzard. It right now it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit and it's snowing
Oh wow,
and it's continuing to
crazy.
snow. Yeah, I know it's like all night long. Suzanne's making dinner right now. She's making some hamburger with Kraft dinner. So
Got you.
yeah,
Yeah,
we haven't hung out in a while. I was just hoping you were doing okay.
yeah, it's been a minute. I haven't been doing any. Well, I mean, I've been doing most of my streams like still overnight or whatever. But they just haven't been
Yeah.
consistent. Sometimes they're open, sometimes they're not. But yeah, um, yeah, I had a rough time for a couple of weeks there, and it's kind of been rocky. But I'm going back this weekend out to the place that I was staying at to do what's called a tune-up, uh,
Sweet.
which is just a 3-day stay, which is good. I just get to kind of refresh and just kind of be there, get away from everything, and um, uh, so that's good. And it's supposed to be storming really bad this weekend as well. So
That's what I heard. Yeah. So now, Jay, are you moved back an hour? Are you like 3 hours behind us now?
yeah,
It's about yeah, it's about 8 o'clock here. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
just after eight.
5:11 here.
Ah, okay, there we go. Yeah, so you're 3 hours. That's what I thought. Yeah, my
Yeah.
sister lives down in Long Beach, so yeah, she's 3 hours behind. Yeah, yeah, it's been a crazy winter so far. You know, I have this I have this strange idea. I might be right that Mother Nature is just an angel from God, and it has her moments. Yeah, she's bipolar.
Oh shit. That's one way of putting it.
Suzanne's right. Yeah, she's exactly right. Yeah, I don't know if you remember. Well, no, you might be too young,
I'm good with
but
it. I mean, we need the rain.
it's not nice to fool with Mother Nature. Yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah.
Wait, that does ring a
And we
bell.
need the snow. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, I see Dave's comment there in the side chat. Yeah, we were. I did. We texted back and forth. Mike and I did. So yeah, he told me about that. I'm hoping it's like an 8-hour drive from where I'm at, but I'm hoping
Believe
I
it
can
or
make it down there for a day.
not. Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, I didn't catch that. You broke up a bit.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was saying that we needed the snow here too. Uh, we've been in the snow globe all morning and afternoon and evening. So yeah, but we need the snow, and I know you guys need
Gotcha.
rain for sure. Yeah, but I don't know about Silver. Oh, there she goes. Yeah. So the
So
daylight
that is
savings is
actually
in. Yeah.
this is a myth. We actually do well. Most of us do switch for daylight savings time. They were talking about not doing it, but we still are at this point.
Yeah. The last I heard is that Hawaii wanted to add not changing the daylight savings, along with Arizona and with that part of Indiana that doesn't use it either. And there's a few other states that still have it on their. It's hard to believe. I mean, daylight savings on your legislation, so to speak, and having them say, well, should we change or not change? You know, I mean, I'm wondering what country did I leave? that
Right.
people went, yeah, right. I mean, um, I didn't think that time was a factor, but apparently for some people it is. It's really weird. There we are. Da-da. Hmm. Weird. Yeah, it is weird,
Weird,
Silver.
weird world.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you
bizarre
ever read
beyond weird.
Ayn Rand?
Have I read what, Jay?
Ayn Rand?
Oh, Ian Rand.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it, but
Well, that's okay. Um, no, to be perfectly honest, I never read Rand in school or anything. Not that I'm aware of.
yeah, me either.
Yeah, no,
I've
I
heard a
never
lot of
read Rand.
commentary on it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I
Now
hear
there's this book,
a
right?
lot of criticism.
Atlas Shrugged. Yeah,
Yeah,
uh, Atlas Shrugged. Yeah. Well, that would make a lot of sense. Yeah. And are quite open to debate. Um, you know what? Yeah, and Rand. Yeah, right. A-R-Y. Yeah, Aaron. Right. A-R-Y-N. Aaron Rand. Right. Right.
it's A-Y-N.
Okay. I remember. It's A-Y-N. A-N. A-N Rand. Okay. Okay. I'll tell you what. I heard of Rand's ideas.
Uh-oh. You cut out.
That's how they
I heard you
apply
and then I didn't hear you anymore.
to historical of a utopia was out there, really out there, and it's odd because I don't think there were very many people that had a concept of a perfect utopian society, but that's what Rand was trying for. I don't know if that's I, I I could be just speculating here, but since, like I said, I never read the actual book, but that's my understanding from what I've heard people discuss about him. And like I said, what I heard in history courses.
But it is pro communist.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that part. But I mean,
Okay, so split the difference. Call it half an hour and leave the clocks alone. That's great.
Okay, we could do that, Captive. Let's see. What was I gonna say again? Oh, okay. So communism is one of the last. Oh, thank you, baby. Thank you so much. Communism is one of those last concepts of world order, which I believe is starting to have lots of cracks in it. Uh, Ayn Rand uh, made it sound like it was going to be something that lasts forever, right? If I understood it correctly, I don't believe that's true, and I do believe that there are cracks in the armor, so to speak. Communism is going to be, if anything, it's going to be one of the last vestiges before, probably one of the last vestiges of real government, which will be left long after our democracy is gone. I believe in that. Democracy will die before communism dies. Let's put it that way. It's hard to believe that, but my opinion, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, for what I see, the atmosphere, right? For what I see in the landscape, uh, which is out there. So, yeah, it's difficult to deal with. It really is.
Seems to be the way people lean, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's like just the natural progression of society?
Well, progression is how you're going to. Okay, the best way I can describe it, just like I say, in my opinion, the best way to describe it is that governments need to have a plan in place, what they plan to do. In the case of the United States, obviously they need to know what they're going to do in the next 4 years and how it's going to be able to affect the country in a positive manner rather than a negative manner. The same thing goes for any of those countries like Russia, like China, and even parts of Cuba that still celebrate communism. They have to come up with a plan of how to keep their political structure in place. Now, Putin is very dangerous. We all know this. And if somebody was to come up and remove him of in some way, then that would be, yeah, then that would be maybe beneficial to the rest of the world. Maybe maybe they could turn Russia into a socialist society. I don't know. It's been tried before.
My understanding that Putin's far less actually dangerous than he originally thought he was, right? It's kind of
very negative results, obviously.
I missed the first part of what you said there. What had negative results?
Right.
Oh. I lost you for a moment.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I know it's my bad internet. You know that.
Yeah. But you were saying, what were you saying had negative results?
Well, people that have tried to change throughout history, people that have tried to change a set belief, such as communism, expose it for what it really is, uh, it's always been done badly. Yeah, I was just reading. I was just reading what John Hudson said.
Oh, yes. Welcome, John Hudson. Jesus.
Jesus
The OG
Christ
communist,
being the OG communist. I don't know if that's true. I think that
I think it was.
I believe that Jesus Christ, since we're during Lent here, well, I just want to compliment to John Hudson there for a minute. Jesus was more of an activist. He had disciples. He had followers. Now, there were people back then, they called them religious zealots, that wanted to use violence, but not Jesus. Jesus didn't use violence. He did drive out people. Like, we're coming up to Palm Sunday, where he enters Jerusalem, on the back of a donkey, and then he goes in, and the first thing he sees is money changers in the temple, and he goes and disrupts that. But that doesn't make him a terrorist or a zealot. It just makes him more of a realist, and he wants the temple to be what it's meant to be. What it's meant for. So, I mean, if that's where John is getting the idea that he's a communist, I no. In my opinion, that's not true. Uh, but if you call him an activist, I would believe that. I would believe that, John, if you call him an activist. And don't forget, after Jesus, uh, went on, moved on, later on, we had someone by the name of Mahatma Gandhi. And Mahatma Gandhi was an activist. He did sit downs, He was protesting British rule, the monarchy, but he did it in a nonviolent way. So that's why, a lot of people like to compare Jesus with Gandhi and so forth. People that want to accomplish change by nonviolent means.
What do you think about this comment here? Russia and China will both be finished within the next 20 years. You think that's accurate?
Well, let me ask you first, Jay. What do you think? Do you think that might be true? What do you think of communism? There are cracks. There are cracks in the armor. We know this. Yeah. So.
Yeah, when you put it like that, like I don't necessarily think they'll have the same system of government. I think China in particular is just so. I think it's like the most ancient empire on the planet, right? Like, so I don't think it's just going to like fail as such, right? Like they may completely overhaul their system of government. Like that's possible. But I don't know. I don't know when we say finish. Like, what does that mean? Will this civilization like actually collapse?
Well, I think he's asking if communism per se is going to collapse. I'd say eventually it will, but I don't think you can put a real time frame on it. Can you, Jay? I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't think you can put a time frame on it. 20 years
No,
is a
Russia.
long time.
I mean, Russia really hasn't been that long since the last time, right? Because they were USSR,
Yes.
what, in like the 60s, 70s, or so it wasn't until the 80s, right?
Well, yeah, it was. It was 1991, right? That they brought down the wall.
Oh, it wasn't until 91. Okay.
Yeah, well, 89, 90, right around that time. It was a 3-year period of progression. But yeah, when the wall came down, there was steadily changes that were being made, which started with Lech Walesa in Poland. And then it just it was a trickle down.
Man, I I do want to respond to Jill real quick here. Hello, Jill. Oh.
Latvia.
Okay. I got some of what you said there. Sorry, it's
everything that's separate.
I understand the gist of what you're saying. It was cutting out pretty bad for a moment. Jill says, prove your natural ape-man theory scientifically before you dwell on proving supernatural claims. Well, it's not my theory. I didn't make the shit up. But actually, well, we don't have time now. I was going to watch some Guts of Gibbon on here, but you're probably not interested in that, huh? But see, I shouldn't be dwelling on the supernatural claims. Like, I don't have to dwell on proving supernatural claims. People who are trying to convince me of supernatural things should be dwelling on proving the supernatural claims. I don't have to worry about that.
I'm sure that there's a lot of, yeah, of course. I'm sure there's a lot of things that can't be proven right away. The supernatural is one of them, but we're still learning. We're still learning. Yeah, it's definitely a process. As far as what John Hudson said here about Jesus being a fairy tale, I can absolutely tell you that's not true. Over the course of the centuries, religion, along with science, worked together in some way to that there was a prophet in his time period that they're referring to, but that the prophet was a little bit more dark skinned. He wasn't a total black man. He was just a very light brown, dark skinned man. And he came from where basically life should have started, which where they had Eden, in Africa somewhere. And he was, some people say that Jesus was an Ethiopian. And yet the common misconception, well, I'm just saying, the common misconception is that some people think that he was a pure white person, which is not true. They've already proven some scientific evidence that states that that wasn't right. And you know what? It would make perfect sense if you had a person of his lineage, to come to the earth and try to promote peace and nonviolence in a world run by the Romans, basically, treading people underfoot. It's what the Roman Empire did back then. But yeah, if you're fighting against that, and then you say, to whoever was in charge of the region, Herod, and you say that they think
we're losing most of what you're saying.
Full of it. There should be peace, less fighting, less persecution. And that's a radical idea, right? For back then. And there was very few, according to what they found out, prophets like that. So, I don't know. You know what? I like to believe a lot of it on faith. I like to, put my faith forward and say that
I've heard sometimes that's the way to do it.
There, that there had to be a real prophet like Jesus. But yeah, if you try to convince someone that it's a fairy tale, it's not true.
Maybe mythology. Say, perfect, be a preferable term, a little less. Oh, hello. What's up, Mike? Good to see you.
I mean, they found it.
Okay, we'll let this. Yeah. See if I can let a little bit of this video here play, and you can just chime in anytime you feel like it. Make this work.
Yeah, I'll listen along with you. Go ahead.
Are we getting sound? Probably not getting sound on that, huh? Mikey, were you hearing the sound on that?
No, sir. Actually, I'm not hearing any sound on it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Okay. To reshare.
And welcome back, Mike Bruzenek. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
I'm a kid? Hey, Mike, by the way, I'm 59. I'm turning 59 years old. I'm not a kid. It's okay, though. But yes, welcome back.
We're all kids here. So.
Oh, yeah, well, kids at heart, probably. Oh, go ahead. If you want to play it, Jay, go ahead. I'll mute myself so you can play it if you want.
Martin Luther King is one of the most co-opted figures in modern history. Everyone tries to claim him for their particular set of beliefs. I made a whole video about how history whitewashes black radicals. But the thing about these people waxing poetic about how great King was is that 90% of the time, they would have hated the man had they lived in the same era. Think about your family members today and how they reacted to the Black Lives Matter rallies and protests. If they're anything like my family, you probably heard some pretty ignorant, hateful statements. The same exact thing happened in Dr. King's time.
And again, like we did a whole stream about this. Check it out on the channel. It wasn't that long ago. It was in like the last week or two. We did a stream about Martin Luther King and the reality being that he was actually a hated figure during his time. Even the
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. Like, I mean, there was a lot of resistance, right? But he was hated by racists and like the milieu in society, right? Like, it was kind of like a subculture.
Right.
Oh,
and yeah, and Mike said he's 73, so I guess I'm still a kid. Okay, whatever.
Must be. Yeah.
You got me, Mike. You got both of us, okay? So, should I call you Grandpa?
the great quote from the letter from a Birmingham jail. People forget that was a letter written to white moderate liberal ministers. Like that was the whole purpose of it, and definitely the meat and potatoes of what he was trying to say. And people paper over that. And you see this now with so many issues. There's some that are going to be gotten into with the video, but I feel this way personally. You see this when it comes to issues of race, when we get serious about talking about economic inequalities and reparations and the need to radically reform our institutions. People just not fucking here for it. People.
Well, I mean, okay, so reparations, we were talking about this the other day. It's like a very complex discussion. So it's not like, I mean, even I'm going to like say like walk that one back a little bit. Like who's paying, you know what I mean? Like how is reparations, how can you make a sensible reparations package.
I don't think you can actually. When it comes down to the two parties, as I mentioned earlier in the chat, uh, they each have their own agendas, and when they clash, when their agendas clash, no one gets out alive, and no one gets out unscathed. And the people that suffer are the are the taxpayers, the guys who actually put these jokers into office. And yes, I call them jokers, but that's what What can you do? You're in a bind because, like they say, with voting is a privilege, not a right. Um, it's tough. It's tough to watch the fireworks go, and you're like, yeah, what are we supposed to do about it? Because we lose either way. Whoever gets in, we lose. It doesn't matter who. It's a question of when, and yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead and continue there, Jay.
Manjil says blacks have already received reparations 10 times over through entitlement programs and affirmative action. I don't know about 10 times over as far as that goes, but yeah, it's also like who are the you'd have to do genealogy on all of these people, right? Like who are the legitimate descendants of enslaved people and how far removed are they and all of that stuff.
People claim to be allies, they claim to be pro LGBTQ. They don't get up educated on the issues. They're not lifting their voice. They haven't bothered to write their congressperson. A lot of them will tell you they don't even vote. Like it's bad, y'all. It's bad. And then literally like that is literally trying to establish a Christian theocracy and supreme.
I actually kind of like the Christo-fascist regime. I think that's interesting. He coined that term. Hearing that a lot lately.
Supremacy of that theocracy over all the other governments of the world so that they can then perpetuate their theocracy as the governing ideology of the current world order. And these motherfucking liberals are not willing to look Christians in the face and tell them this shit ain't true.
Who though? I mean, who is he he's just generalizing like the liberals aren't willing to like most of the liberals I know, I mean, they're
well,
I mean, if you're gonna profess to be
well, when I was younger and I was able to vote, okay, throughout most of my life I voted in the Democratic vein, and then it was only like the last two elections that I decided to vote independent because I could see that the corruptness and insecurity of both parties was going to mean a huge division, not just during, not just between uh, uh, blacks and 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 whites, but referring to liberals being bad. Well, liberals are just as bad as conservatives. Republicans are just as bad as Democrats. And even independents, it's really funny. Even independent parties, third parties, they have a political agenda. Everyone does. And I think he needs to stop Yeah, and I think he needs to stop generalizing. I think he needs to focus on like I say, in my honest opinion, the true problem is that we need, they need as a country, to realize that there aren't any honest politicians, and that they need to figure out. God bless you, baby. And they need to figure out a way to, I guess, voters need to figure out a way to curtail their uh, hatred uh, and try to turn it into positive change. And I don't think that's happening. And it hasn't been happening for years. And I could go back as far as, say, like basically the Reagan years in the 80s, ever since then. So we're talking about a 40-year, fluctuation, which hasn't been resolved. And I don't think he's giving people questions. This guy is only giving questions. He's not delivering solid answers, and he's biased. I don't know. What do you think, Jay? What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, it's a friendly fire, you know what I mean? Because he claims to be in this camp, I think, of being a liberal, or was, right? Because that's why I left the left, right?
Why?
But then it's like,
Right.
so basically, it's used to say, well, if you're not up to my standards of liberalism, then you're not truly an ally. Then you're an enemy, right? Like, so
You're
he's
an enemy,
making
right?
enemies out of, yeah. So it's yeah, I think it's like that is fascism, right? Like,
It's a form of fascism, yes. Fascism, yes. He's drawing the line. He says that, he's saying liberals are the worst. Well, I'm sorry to break his bubble, but liberals are not the worst. We
yeah,
know this
worse in
for a
terms of
fact.
what? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, as I said, it's a constant war. It's over economics. It's over societal norms. It's over the internet. It's over, uh, past past aggressive parties of groups of people that have had a lot of hatreds towards each other for a while. Uh, Say, for example, in the Southwest, there are people that live in some Southwest states like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. They all hate the people that an instant stereotype. Uh, it's really sad. It Its voice is just one of many. It's just one of many, and no, that's what I see. I mean, that's what I races. Where else are you going to go if you don't like your liberalism? Then you're gonna migrate to the conservatives. That would be a bad move. I think he should go. I think he should go on his own and form
Yeah,
a separate party. What do you think? He should form his own party. I think he
Look at it
should.
past him.
Yeah, sure. If he gets enough support, enough financial backing, maybe people will start to put him, consider him for an official office. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh. Wow, who would have said that?
What? Oh, that's Tog. He's being a silly head. I'm looking for. Actually, I don't think it's in this stream. I think it's another. Although there was a portion of the stream I was supposed to clip.
I'm just laughing at Mike and Captive Desk. their
Oh, I'm not in the comments right now.
interplay. Yeah.
What do you say?
Oh no, I was saying that Mike Brusanak and Captive Desk were going back and forth, talk about how old Mike is and get off my lawn,
Oh, yeah.
damn straight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just reading that. And did we respond to rebuke and reprove? He said blacks
Which
have
one?
already received. Oh, the very last one, where rebuke says blacks have already received reparations 10 times over through entitlement programs and affirmative action. Well, yeah, but what have they done with it? But I'm just asking
Right.
him. I'm asking rebuke. I'm saying, well, what have they done with them? They haven't done anything viable and worthy. All they've done is just shrug them off like they're because they feel like they're entitled, and that's not right. I mean, you should do something with it to make it, valuable. Use it wisely. Those so-called reparations, but I don't think they have. Again, as I say, that's my opinion. But yeah. Oh, there's Wildheart.
Well, that's the problem though with any of these is not it's not up to the government, right, to decide how those people are going to spend that money, right? If you're going to give it to them, you're saying that they are entitled to that monies, right? That's the point in doing
I
that.
thought they were. Yeah, I thought they were obligated.
If it's reparation, right? But Jill's examples are different, but
Yeah.
but no,
I
that's
thought they
saying
were
that they're
obligated
entitled to
and
that
not
money is
entitled.
for past injustice.
Yeah, I guess me personally, I need to examine more thoroughly the difference between being entitled and being obligated to have such
Right.
programs.
Now, for me, the problem
and
is the responsibility, right? Because
affirmative given to you. Yeah.
what makes me
that's
responsible for past injustices committed by others? That's what.
Right. The responsibility, I agree. Yes. Oh, we haven't heard from Silver in a while. Is she still there? Hey, Silver.
I'm not
Lift
sure.
up a hand or lift up a hand or.
Are you alive?
Yell out your name. Just to know how to.
Well, I thought I'd be able to find this really quick before we went off, but guess not.
Yes, as primates, we've come a long.
I think it was from the stream.
So
what was that, Mikey? I was looking for a part of one of Wild's streams. There's actually been several good ones. I gotta go get clips from with Jill here. I'm not gonna give it away. No. I was cracking up the other day on this stuff. So we're part of a channel now. Brandon, he's a cool dude. Oh, like he dropped and came back. I wonder who that was.
Goodbye.
Who? If someone else knocks another person down, you're responsible. What the hell's going on with my comments?
Okay, there we
Giving
are.
that person a
I'm
hand
back.
up. Okay, yeah, fair enough on that one. That's a fair point, but that's like a moral duty, right? It's not a.
Well, it's a form of morality, Mike. Which is that's. Well, let's put it this way: if you have a conscience, and you feel justified about your morals, your particular moral fiber, then I would say yes. I would do what you just commented on. And yes, you know me, Silver. I go poof. I don't have the greatest internet in the world, but yeah, go poofy. Yeah, but that's okay. That's all right. I still love you guys. I get along with you guys.
Still
great.
love you too, Mikey.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a pleasure chatting with you, buddy.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I enjoy it. I do. I love being up here when I can. I was going to ask Silver. I wish she'd join us because we had great combos, the three of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it gets a little weird. They get pissed off at you for not giving them a hand.
Well, they get. Oh, what's the word? A person gets hostile if they realize, hey, you didn't want to help me up. You have something against me. It's almost right. It's almost like you have that instant hostility of like, well, wait a second, aren't I worth getting a hand up or help out? Yeah. Some people feel that way. Yeah. It's weird.
What am I, chopped liver?
Yeah, what am I?
All right. Well, do you have any announcements to make or shows coming up in the near future here?
Yes.
Before we
Yes, sir. Absolutely, I do. Hopefully, I can get it all in before I go poofy again. Okay, so starting April 1st is when I'll be doing a concept called Mikey TV. It'll be basically a forum, a webcam where I'll be giving a topic of the day, and then recommending a DVD, and then letting the chat ask a question, and then I can offer an answer, the best answer I can give, and I don't know how long I'm shooting for, but that'll be on Mondays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. All right. Well, I guess I better give up this room.
3 o'clock Central. Then on Tuesday, this is like, yeah. Then on and then on Tuesdays, our buddy Jay. Rich. Yeah, so on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, starting on April 2nd, I'll be doing a review that I've been doing with Jay Aldridge, our friend Jay, down in Louisiana, called the 18 Reviews. We're still working on season 1, and we're on to episode 8 of that season. There are 5 seasons in total. Wednesdays, I'm going to be doing reviews on the show called The Greatest American Hero. There's only 3 reviews. Again, I'll go back to doing random episodes. That'll be at 4. Uh, 20 questions. They get an opportunity to do their own. I hope you got most of that.
I think we did. All right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that all starts. Yeah, so that all starts, my friend, April 1st, just after Easter Sunday. I'm still trying to work on staying off the, my own webcams and streams till then it's over. But not too long now. Only 12 more days. Yeah.
Not long at all. All right. Well, cool. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for coming by, and thanks to everybody who's in the chat. And hopefully I'll be probably post another one later. So yeah, have a great evening, everybody. Peace out.